Good day, everybody. We're here for another cool episode. We're talking about this one is really not unique, but different. We're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to talk about just life in general, specifically maybe some college, some careers. Today, my guest, Heather. How are you, Heather?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. So, wow, you're going to put your life story, I guess, out there for a little bit because you said you're an open book.
I am
Um, and whatever that means, I guess we will roll with it. So, tell me a little bit about you.
a little bit about me. Okay. I am 32 years old. I was adopted into a great, loving family at the very young age of, I wasn't officially adopted until about 6 or 7, but my parents took me in. The only people that I know, they took me in at a couple days old from the hospital. And yeah, they just said she's ours and we want to keep her. So that's how that happened. And I'm local to Pittsburgh, just outside of Pittsburgh. I grew up on a 100-acre farm. We
Out.
had horses.
Okay. So since you brought it up, so your childhood, how was your childhood?
Good. I was a baby. I have an older sister and an older brother who are not adopted, but they're my siblings, and they look at me like I'm one of them.
Okay. All right. So fast forward, and there's a lot of things in between, but you said you did go to college.
I did go to college. I went to an art school. I got an associate's degree in photography.
All right. And what was your goal when you went to obtain that degree? What did you want to do at that point?
When
Or
I
did you just go because?
when I was in high school, all your friends know what they want to do with their lives, apparently. I don't know. I felt like I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I saw like everybody's locker was covered in, I'm going to Pitt or I'm going to Penn State or some big prestigious school. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want to do. My mom was like, well, you're really good at taking pictures. Why don't you go to school for photography? And I was like, that's a good idea. So that's exactly what I did.
Okay. So did you do anything after that with photography?
I did. I worked for myself. I do have my own business. It's small because I am competing with every other photographer that is out there,
Mhm.
anybody with a camera. But I did a lot of events and weddings for the past ten years.
Good. Good. So did you continue on to your bachelor's at all, or is that on
I
hold?
didn't. No.
Okay. So let's talk about that real quick.
Sure.
If you had to rewind the tape to the 17, 18-year-old age in terms of going to college today, because things change,
Hmm.
would you recommend one going to college if they are not completely 100% sure, which is many people today?
Yeah.
Um, talk to me about that.
If you're not 100% sure, and I take this, I look at my son. My son's 9, and what I went through, what his dad went through with college, because I went and got an associate's degree. He went and got a bachelor's in history. So he was a history major. And I look at my son and I'm like, I don't care if you want to go to college. I would rather you go learn a trade and do something that way. I think if unless you're going to college to be a doctor or a psychologist or something along those lines, then I don't think the whole college experience is needed.
Right. Right. And the money, right?
It's so expensive. Everything's expensive these days, but college is just out of this world expensive.
Yeah. I always suggest to people that, just my opinion, if you're going to go, know what your return on investment is going to be as best as you can,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Mhm.
Um, absolutely. All right. So fast forward and or fill in the blanks as to what you're doing now. What have you done since then? Where do you want to go? And here's why. Right, we talked about this. The reason we're doing this is there are many people around the country who can relate to somebody like you telling your story, who may not have, not that you don't, as a defined path as others. So it's just really a conversation, and hopefully it will resonate with people. Hey, yeah, that's me. That life's not perfect, right?
Right.
So what have you been doing?
So, aside from photography, I always kept photography on the back burner, but I've always had another job. I've worked two, three jobs at a time before, just because, single mom life, that's how it goes.
Mhm.
But I'm one of those people that I can't work a 9 to 5. It drains me. It sucks the soul from my body. I can't do it. I like um, being very active with what I do. I like making money. It didn't matter what I was doing as long as I was like kind of bouncing around. So I had a lot of different jobs, and a few of those, the past, I would say 5 years, I worked as a sales consultant in a bridal shop. So I worked there for 3 years, loved it. I loved it. After that, for about 5 seasons, winter seasons, I worked as a lift operator at a ski resort.
Hey,
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I worked locally for around the area here that I'm from, and then I went out to Colorado and Utah, and I worked at Park City out there a week.
wow,
Yeah, so I
that sounds
loved
like
it.
fun though.
It was so much fun. It was such an experience. It was very cold. There was a lot of snow, but it was an amazing experience. I would tell anybody, put it on your bucket list.
Let me ask you this while I'm thinking of it. So, as you explore that opportunity, how does one even know about how to go about living there? Like, what's the housing look like?
So for Vail Resorts is who I worked for. Our area had an extend your winter program that
Hmm.
I signed up for about a year prior because there's a little bit of a waiting list, but I signed up a year prior. I was on the list to extend your winter for the next season, and I got picked to go out to Park City, Utah, and work out there for the rest of their season because since we live on the East Coast, our season ends rather quickly depending on the weather. So they look for people to go out and finish working out there. So it was an extend your winter. They paid for everything. They got you housing if you wanted it. I essentially didn't need it. I kind of got really lucky with my mom's friend who owned a condo out there.
Mm,
I lived out there alone for about a month or two working.
okay, well that's good because one who may want to do something like that, or even in warm weather, say Miami, or just go hop and relocate for a while,
Yeah,
they may, well, I don't know where I'm going to live, but like you said, just explore, right? There's options out there. The more
there are
you ask,
options. Absolutely. I had a few friends. So I got picked to go to Park City. And here, a few friends of mine, when I went to orientation out there to start work, um, they also got picked. And I didn't know until we went to orientation. They actually got housing. So they lived right across from me.
mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. All right, so what about after that?
So after that, I came back. I started DJing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, I worked as a DJ in a local casino for 2 years, about every Friday, Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you doing that at all still?
I dabble in it here and there. I couldn't keep up with the hours. It was really long nights, long hours, and it got to be a lot after 2 years. I mean, I know it was only set Friday and Saturday nights, but I put in about 26 to 36 hours in a weekend. I also worked full time at the time. So
Wow. Okay. So what kind of hobbies do you have? What do you like to do?
hobbies. I grew up riding horses. I love riding horses. Kayaking, being outside, being outdoors, snowboarding,
Mhm.
skiing.
You are adventurous.
Yeah.
How about skydiving?
Uh, I've
No.
had the opportunity, but I turned it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only because my son.
Makes sense. No, I get that. I get that. All right. So here we are.
Here we are.
If you had this crystal ball, what would you like to do? What would be your dream job?
My dream job. Oh, I want to own a boarding facility with horses, and I want to get off the track horses and flip them and send them to good homes.
Wow. Wow. So is that just an early idea? Have you explored any have you made any headway with that?
My boyfriend and I are currently looking for property uh, to build this dream that I have. It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
so
Okay. Well, you have to get investors, right?
right, got to do something.
Yeah. Cool. I like hearing your story. It is definitely unique because you tried everything. Like you said, it's not that you're the type of person at 32 who did not work that 9 to 5 for the last 10 years and were at ends of wit with yourself. Um,
Right.
what do you recommend though for kids in general today? what would be your? I hate to say advice, but what would if you were talking to?
My advice. I've done a lot of things. Another one of my jobs was car sales. I worked in the car sales. The past 6 months, I would say, it was like a love-hate relationship.
Why is that?
The money is good when it's good and it's bad when it's bad. So you're going to have good months and bad months, but you have to be prepared for either, because when you are selling and when there are people coming in buying cars, you're making money. But when it's the dead of winter in our area, you're not making any money.
Yeah. What kind of person is fit to sell cars?
I'm sorry.
What kind of person is fit to sell cars? Like, what kind of personality do you need to sell cars?
Somebody who's very confident in what they're doing. Honestly, you have to be a good listener. As long as you can listen to what people want, you got it.
Give me an example in the car business.
In the car business, let's see. You have all kinds of people. You have families, you have young kids with their parents, like teenagers coming in to buy a car. You have older folks who may have lost their wife or their husband coming in. You honestly, you just sit there and listen to their story and what they need, and you go from there. You just kind of build their vision of what they build your vision of what they should be in.
Sure.
Car. A family would need an SUV.
Why I don't want to stick on the car dealers so much, but why? It's sales, right? It's a position. Why do you think car salespeople get such a bad rap?
Bad rap?
Yeah.
I had a lot of people come to me and say, I had a bad experience at this place, and it makes me really nervous to, go through this process. But being the kind of person that I am, I listen to them, and I understand where they're coming from, because I've had a bad experience too. I didn't want to ever go back and buy a car. So you just have to understand where they're coming from, and that's half the battle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the hours are not good. Long hours.
They're so long. They're so long. I was putting in about 42 hours a week, getting paid $96 a day for my salary.
Wow.
And if I sold something great. If I didn't, then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, anything else, Heather, you want to share that would inspire us?
My mom advice to anybody out there, I've been through it. You got to follow your heart, not your head. Don't worry about the bills. You can't take those with you when you die. So do what you want to do in life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of people can't get out of their own way, right, today, to try something different.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Good. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate it, your time, and hopefully people will say, "Hey, cool, I can relate to that."
Yeah.
And I wish you luck, Heather.
Thank you.
All
Thanks
right.
so much for having me.
Sure. All right. Just stand by 1 second.
Sure.